The hidden powers of Apache chiefs and witches. Imagine a world where the line between the spiritual and physical blurs, where the whispers of the wind carry prophecies, and the rustling of leaves reveals hidden enemies. This is the world of the Apache, where power was not just a word, but a force that shaped their lives, their legends, and their darkest fears. If you're intrigued by stories of the supernatural, the mysteries of ancient cultures, and the enduring power of belief, then subscribe now to Native Legends and History, and join us as we journey deep into the heart of Apache witchcraft. The Apache people, renowned for their resilience and deep connection to the land, held a belief in a force they simply called power. This was not the power of political influence or physical strength, but an unseen energy, a supernatural ability that flowed through certain individuals, shaping their destinies and the fate of their tribe. To the Apache, power was as elusive and mysterious as the desert winds, even when confronted by 20th-century historians eager to unravel its secrets. Many Apache remained tight-lipped, hesitant to share their sacred knowledge with those they would only scoff and misunderstand. Those who did speak of it described it as a set of abstract forces woven into the fabric of the natural world, inexplicable and impervious to scientific dissection. This power manifested in many ways as unique as the individual who wielded it. Chiefs and medicine men were said to possess incredible abilities: the power to heal the sick, to glimpse the future, even to know the manner of their own death. Some could locate and capture ammunition with uncanny accuracy, a crucial skill in a time when rifles were the difference between life and death. Others held dominion over rattlesnakes, those fearsome creatures of the desert, handling them with impunity, their touch transforming fear into awe. The path to acquiring such power was not for the faint. Young Apache, often in their adolescence, would embark on a grueling vision quest, a solitary journey into the heart of the wilderness. They would climb a sacred mountain chosen for its spiritual significance, and they're stripped of all comforts and defenses. They would fast and pray for 4 days and nights alone, with only a single blanket for protection against the harsh elements. They would endure hunger, thirst, and the fear of the unknown. No food, no water, no weapons to ward off predators, only the strength of their spirit and the fervor of their prayers. On the last night, if deemed worthy, a voice would pierce the silence, a divine whisper guiding them towards their power. The voice would instruct them to take a part of the natural world as their totem, a piece of animal hide, a smooth stone, a fragment of a tree, or a delicate plant. This totem, imbued with spiritual significance, would become their guide, their protector, and the source of their power. They would carry it close to their heart, in a small buckskin pouch, hanging from a leather strap around their neck, a constant reminder of their connection to the unseen forces that shaped their world. The Apache distinguished power from mere superstition. Though their lives were interwoven with both, superstitions were rules and rituals, taboos to be observed to avoid misfortune. On the warpath, they would use different words for everyday objects, avoid puncturing holes in their meat, and rarely travel at night, fearing the bad omens that might follow a misstep. But power was different. It was an ability, a gift bestowed by using their main god, with whom they communicated directly. It was not about avoiding bad luck, but about wielding a force that transcended the physical world. One Apache chief, Nana, was renowned for his extraordinary abilities. He possessed an uncanny knack for locating ammunition, a vital skill in a time when supplies were scarce and every bullet counted. But even more remarkable was his power over rattlesnakes. While others trembled at the sight of these venomous creatures, Nana would handle them with a calmness that bordered on the supernatural. He would move among them, his hands guiding their sinuous bodies, seemingly impervious to their deadly fangs. This ability was particularly significant to the Apache, who harbored a deep-seated fear of rattlesnakes. Many believed this fear was the root of their superstition against traveling at night. When the snakes were most active, their silent forms a hidden danger in the darkness. Other chiefs were said to possess the ability to read spiderwebs, deciphering the secrets of the weather, woven into their delicate strands. Herman Lehman, an American boy captured by the Apache, recounted witnessing chiefs who could predict rain with astonishing accuracy. simply by examining a spiderweb. A thin, long and high web signaled dry weather, while a low, short and thick web foretold impending rain. The Apache did not blindly accept the workings of power. When it faltered or failed, they sought explanations, often attributing it to a transgression against the spirits or a disruption of the natural order. In one instance, witnessed by Lemon, a medicine man's rainmaking ceremony ended in failure, the parched land remaining stubbornly dry. The Apache, convinced that something had angered the spirits, turned their suspicion towards a Mexican captive, traveling with them to appease the angered spirits. They led the captive up a mountain, bound him to a rock, and staked a rattlesnake beside him, its proximity a silent threat. Only then, after this act of sacrifice, did the medicine man's incantations bear fruit. The skies opening up in a torrential downpour that flooded the land. The ability to control the weather was a coveted power, attributed to many Apache chiefs. Some were said to heal illnesses with a touch, their hands mending not just flesh and bone, but the spirit within. Others possessed a mastery over animals, taming even the wildest of horses with an uncanny ease, their presence calming the untamed spirit within. And then there were the seers, those who could pierce the veil of time and glimpse the future. Willie Neal, a Western Apache medicine man, foretold the arrival of automobiles long before they appeared on the reservation, envisioning them as iron objects with eyes that could see in the night. These were just a few manifestations of the power that flowed through the Apache people, a force that shaped their beliefs, their legends, and their understanding of the world around them. But, as we shall see, this power was not always a source of good. In the hands of the malevolent, it could be twisted into a weapon, a tool for inflicting pain and suffering, giving rise to the figures feared and reviled as witches. While many Apache possessed remarkable abilities, the powers attributed to Lazun and Geronimo, two iconic figures of Apache history, stand out as truly extraordinary. Their stories, interwoven with the turbulent years of the Apache Wars, 1861 to 1886, are testaments to the potent force of power and its potential to shape the destiny of a people. In a society where warfare was traditionally the domain of men, Lausanne emerged as a defiant exception, a warrior woman whose courage and cunning rivaled the greatest Apache chiefs. The sister of Chief Victoria, she was a formidable presence on the battlefield. Her skills honed from childhood, when she outpaced and outmatched all the boys in strength and agility. As an adult, her wisdom and strategic mind earned her a place in the councils of war, a rare honor for an Apache woman. Lausanne was not merely a warrior, she was a medicine woman, deeply connected to the spiritual forces that animated the Apache world. Her most remarkable ability was her power to locate the enemy with uncanny precision. When her brother, Vittorio, sought to know the whereabouts of their adversaries, Lausanne would turn to Usen, the Apache creator god, for guidance. With outstretched arms and palms open to the sky, she would pray, her body slowly rotating, following the path of the sun. When an enemy was before her, her palms would flush with color, a tingling sensation coursing through her hands, its intensity revealing the proximity of the foe. This extraordinary ability, witnessed countless times by her nephew James Quick, made her an invaluable asset in the Apache Wars. Chief Nana, a renowned warrior himself, hailed her as his right hand, praising her strength, bravery, and strategic brilliance. To the Apache people, Lausanne was more than a warrior. She was a shield, a protector, whose power guarded them from the encroaching threat of their enemies. In October 1880, during a desperate retreat from Mexican soldiers, Victoriano ordered Lausanne to escort a pregnant woman to the safety of a reservation, while he and his warriors continued their flight. This fateful decision proved to be disastrous. Without Lausanne's uncanny ability to sense danger, Victoriano and his band were ambushed, massacred, their bodies left to the vultures. Nearly 80 Apache were killed, and another 68 were captured, a devastating blow that many attributed to Lausanne's absence. Years later, in 1886, Lausanne stood beside Geronimo as they surrendered to the American forces. Her image captured in a rare photograph, a poignant reminder of her unwavering loyalty and the tragic fate that befell her people. Geronimo, perhaps the most renowned Apache warrior in history, was also said to possess extraordinary powers. gifts bestowed upon him after the brutal murder of his family by Mexican soldiers. His abilities were as numerous as they were astonishing. He could summon rain, evade bullets, see into the future, and even manipulate the flow of time itself. These claims may sound fantastical, but numerous accounts from fellow Apache testify to Geronimo's uncanny powers. When pursued by Mexican or American troops, he would pray and sing, his voice rising in supplication to U.S. And then, as if in answer to his pleas, the weather would shift, rain would fall, obscuring his trail and hindering his pursuers. On one occasion, Geronimo and his followers were trapped in a cave by American soldiers, yet they managed to escape, vanishing without a trace. The Americans, baffled, could find no exits from the cave, but the Apache whispered of Geronimo's power to cloak his people from sight. An Apache named recounted an even more astonishing feat: Geronimo's ability to slow the coming of dawn. On the warpath, racing against the rising sun to reach a strategic location, Geronimo sang a powerful song, and the night held its breath, delaying the dawn for 2 or 3 hours. "I saw this personally," Pareco declared, his words echoing the awe and wonder that Geronimo inspired. Perhaps the most remarkable claim about Geronimo's powers was Newsom's promise that he would never die in battle, nor by the gun. True to this prophecy, Geronimo, though ultimately forced to surrender, never fell in combat yet. When a painter was commissioned to capture his likeness for his autobiography, he was astonished to find Geronimo's body riddled with bullet scars, as many as 50 evidence of a life spent defying death. Geronimo's powers, like Lot, were a shield to his people, a source of hope and resilience. In the face of overwhelming odds, they were revered for their abilities, their names enshrined in Apache legend. But their stories also serve as a stark reminder that power, like any force, can be wielded for both good and evil. For the Apache, witchcraft was not merely the misuse of power, but a profound betrayal of the tribe, a violation of the sacred trust that bound their community together. It was the dark side of the coin, the shadow cast by the extraordinary abilities that could heal, protect, and guide. As Keith Basso eloquently stated, power was bestowed for the benefit of the tribe. There were those who used theirs for evil, and these were regarded as witches. This fundamental distinction between medicine men and witches lay at the heart of Apache beliefs. Medicine men, or shamans, were the healers, the protectors, the keepers of wisdom. Their powers a source of communal strength and well-being. They were respected and revered. Their counsel sought in times of need, their presence a comfort in times of crisis. Witches, on the other hand, were the antithesis of all that the Apache held dear. They were the outcasts, the betrayers, the sewers of discord. Their powers, twisted and corrupted to serve their own selfish desires, they were feared and shunned, their names spoken in hushed tones, their actions a source of communal shame and sorrow. Betraying one's tribe was the ultimate transgression in Apache society, a crime punishable by banishment or even death. Banishment, in the eyes of the Apache, was a fate worse than death itself. It meant being severed from one's family, one's community, one's very identity as an Apache. It was a solitary exile, a life lived in the shadows, forever cut off from the warmth and protection of the tribe. The Apache believed that imprisonment, the preferred punishment of their white adversaries, was a far crueler fate than anything they would inflict upon a transgressor. To be confined within walls, stripped of one's freedom and connection to the land, was anathema to their way of life. The path to witchcraft was often paved with bitterness and resentment. Those who felt wronged, those who harbored grudges, those who sought revenge, were susceptible to the lure of the dark side. They would turn their backs on their people, embracing forbidden rituals and malevolent magic to inflict harm and sow chaos. Witches were said to gather in secret, cloaked in darkness, their ceremonies a grotesque mockery of the sacred rituals of the medicine men. They would meet in caves, hidden from the eyes of the tribe, their voices chanting incantations, their bodies swaying to the rhythm of forbidden dances. Like medicine men, they would carry pouches around their necks, but instead of containing sacred totems, these pouches held the tools of their dark trade: powdered human remains, venomous rattlesnake scales, excrement, menstrual blood, and the sap of lightning-struck trees. These were the ingredients of their curses, the poisons they used to inflict suffering and death. Witches employed various methods to inflict harm. Upon their victims, they would slip poison into food. A silent and insidious attack that exploited the Apache's tradition of hospitality. They would bury their concoctions near a victim's favorite haunts, their malevolent magic seeping into the very ground they walked upon. Their curses were often accompanied by chants and incantations, their words imbued with dark power. They would repeat bad words 4 times, a number associated with evil, and circle their victims or their homes 4 times, amplifying the potency of their spells. The effects of their curses were swift and devastating. Victims would fall ill without warning, their bodies racked with pain, their lives extinguished without explanation. Crops would wither, cattle would sicken and die, and misfortune would plague those who incurred the wrath of a witch. The Apache, ever vigilant against the threat of witchcraft, developed various methods of protection. They would carry amulets and talismans, such as eagle feathers or turquoise beads. Believed to ward off evil, medicine men would conduct ceremonies to counter the effects of curses, their chants and songs battling the dark magic of the witches. When suspicion fell upon an individual, the Apache would conduct a trial, though it was a far cry from the judicial proceedings of their white counterparts. The accused would be confronted by the headman of the local group and flatly accused of witchcraft. If they denied the charge, they would be subjected to a brutal ordeal, strung up by their wrists from a tree limb, their toes barely touching the ground, fires lit beneath them to hasten their confession. Their belongings would be searched for evidence of their dark practices, their every word scrutinized for signs of guilt. If found guilty, the witch would face the ultimate punishment, banishment from the tribe. Cast out into the wilderness, they would be left to fend for themselves, forever marked as a betrayer. In some cases, the relatives of their victims might take matters into their own hands, exacting a bloody vengeance for the harm inflicted upon their loved ones. The stories of Apache witchcraft raise profound questions about the nature of belief and the boundaries of reality. Did the Apache truly believe in the powers of witches? And if so, were their fears grounded in reality, or merely the product of superstition and fear? These are questions that continue to intrigue and challenge us today. The Apache, like many indigenous cultures, possessed a deep and intimate knowledge of their environment. Their understanding of the natural world, far surpassing our own, their beliefs, though often dismissed as mere superstition, may hold insights that we are only beginning to grasp. Perhaps, as some have suggested, the Apache's belief in witchcraft served a social function, reinforcing communal bonds and discouraging antisocial behavior. Or, perhaps as the Apache themselves believed, there were forces at work in the world, unseen and inexplicable, that could be harnessed for both good and evil. Whatever the truth may be, the stories of Apache witchcraft offer a fascinating glimpse into a world where the boundaries between the spiritual and the physical were blurred, where power was both a gift and a curse, and where the choices made by individuals could shape the destiny of an entire people. At this juncture, you might find yourself wrestling with the same questions that have haunted me throughout this exploration of Apache power and witchcraft. Did the Apache truly believe in these extraordinary abilities, and if so, is there any tangible evidence to support their claims, or are we simply delving into the realm of myth and legend? It's natural, in our modern world of scientific inquiry and empirical evidence, to approach such tales with a healthy dose of skepticism. After all, we live in an age where information is readily available, where the mysteries of the natural world are constantly being unraveled, and where the supernatural is often relegated to the realm of fantasy and folklore. But perhaps in our quest for rational explanations, we risk overlooking the profound wisdom embedded in the beliefs of the Apache, a people whose connection to the land and the unseen forces that shaped their world was far deeper and more nuanced than our own. The Apache, like many indigenous cultures, possessed an intimate knowledge of their environment, a relationship forged through generations of living in harmony with the natural world. They were keen observers of the subtle signs and signals that nature offered, their senses attuned to the rhythms of the land in a way that we, in our modern world, can scarcely comprehend. Herman Lehman, the American boy who lived among the Apache, marveled at their ability to predict the weather, to find water in the arid desert, to track animals with uncanny accuracy. He witnessed medicine men seemingly reading spiderwebs to forecast rain, a feat that seemed to defy explanation. Yet upon closer examination, we find that such abilities may not be so supernatural. After all, modern research has revealed that spiders do indeed alter their web-spinning behavior in response to changes in barometric pressure, a subtle cue that the Apache, with their deep understanding of the natural world, may have learned to interpret similarly. Willie Neal's prophecy of automobiles, described as iron objects with eyes that see in the night, might be seen as a remarkable premonition of the future. But it's worth noting that Neal lived in a time when trains were becoming increasingly common in the American West. These steam-powered behemoths, with their glowing headlights cutting through the darkness, could easily have inspired Neal's vision. The stories of Nana's snake-handling prowess and Geronimo's uncanny ability to evade capture also invite closer scrutiny. Nana's apparent immunity to rattlesnake venom might be attributed to a combination of skill, knowledge, and perhaps a touch of showmanship. Geronimo's legendary escapes, including his vanishing act in the cave, could be explained by his intimate knowledge of the terrain and his ability to exploit hidden passages and escape routes. Even Geronimo's purported ability to summon rain and slow the coming of dawn might be seen through a different lens. While these events were undoubtedly interpreted as supernatural interventions by his followers, they could also be explained as coincidences, natural phenomena that occurred at opportune moments, reinforcing their belief in his extraordinary powers. It's important to remember that the Apache, like many cultures, relied on oral tradition to transmit their history and beliefs. These stories, passed down through generations, were often embellished and imbued with symbolic meaning, blurring the lines between fact and legend. As for the painter's account of Geronimo's numerous bullet scars, it's worth noting that Geronimo himself acknowledged being wounded in battle at least 8 times in his autobiography. Given the intensity and duration of the Apache Wars, it's not impossible that he sustained numerous injuries throughout his life as a warrior. And Lawson's extraordinary ability to locate enemies, while remarkable, is also based on accounts gathered decades after the events, making it difficult to verify their accuracy. While it's tempting to dismiss the Apache's beliefs as mere superstition, it's worth considering the social and psychological functions they served. The belief in powerful chiefs and medicine men capable of wielding supernatural forces would have strengthened social cohesion and instilled confidence in their leadership. Conversely, the belief in witches, those who misused their powers for selfish gain, would have served as a deterrent against antisocial behavior. The fear of being labeled a witch, of being ostracized and banished, would have encouraged individuals to conform to social norms and act in the best interests of the tribe. In this sense, the belief in both beneficial and malevolent powers could be seen as a form of social control, a way of maintaining order and harmony within the community. It's crucial, however, to avoid reducing the Apache's beliefs to mere social constructs. Their worldview, shaped by centuries of living in close connection with the natural world, was imbued with a profound spirituality that transcended our modern understanding. For the Apache, the spiritual and the physical were inextricably intertwined, the unseen forces of the universe woven into the fabric of their everyday lives. Their beliefs, though often couched in the language of myth and legend, reflected a deep reverence for the natural world and a profound understanding of the interconnectedness of all things. As we delve into the stories of Apache power and witchcraft, it's essential to approach them with respect and an open mind, recognizing that their beliefs, though different from our own, hold valuable insights into the human experience. The Apache were, and still are, a deeply spiritual people. Their belief in power was not merely a superstition, but a way of life, a way of understanding their place in the cosmos. They believed that using their creator God spoke to them, guided them, and empowered them, and they believed that those who misused this power, who turned against their people, were not merely criminals, but witches deserving of the harshest punishments. The Apache people, despite facing immense challenges and enduring unspeakable hardships, have managed to preserve their cultural heritage. Their stories and their beliefs, their legacy is a powerful reminder of the importance of respecting and understanding different cultures, of appreciating the diversity of human experience, and of recognizing the enduring power of belief. The stories of Apache power and witchcraft, though shrouded in mystery and often dismissed as mere folklore, offer a glimpse into a world where the boundaries between the seen and the unseen were blurred, where the natural and the supernatural coexisted, and where the choices made by individuals could shape the destiny of an entire people. These stories, passed down through generations, continue to resonate today, inviting us to question our own assumptions about the nature of reality and the limits of human potential. They remind us that there is more to the world than meets the eye, that there are forces at work beyond our comprehension, and that the power of belief, whether in good or evil, can shape our lives in profound ways. The Apache people, through their stories and beliefs, remind us that the world is a tapestry woven with threads of mystery and wonder. Their legacy is a call to embrace the unknown, to question our assumptions, and to honor the diverse ways in which humans experience and understand the world around them. If you're fascinated by the mysteries of ancient cultures, the enduring power of belief, and the stories that connect us to our shared human heritage, then subscribe now to Native Legends and Histories, and join us as we continue to explore the rich tapestry of Indigenous traditions and folklore.